Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Ebby with Ebby Reviews. This is going to be something different. We're going to watch a movie this time. I'm going to do a review of a movie. It's on Netflix. It's called Archive. It had a beautiful black man on the cover and it's a horror movie. We're going to take a chance on it to see what happens. I'm supposed to be live at 10:45, but tired and I'm not feeling it, so I'm gonna push it back. How long is this movie? Oh, it's only an hour. I'm gonna push my live back to 12 o'clock because I'm not going anywhere today, and you know I'm exhausted. So I'm gonna push my live back to 12 p.m. and we're gonna watch this movie together and scare the pants off of ourselves. Shall we? I feel it's gonna be a bunch of foolishness. Let's jump into it. Already, I'm concerned and confused about what the hell is happening. We only like 2 minutes in. We at the opening title. Hold on, I gotta adjust myself in the seat. Oh, it's a lot of booty. I'm trying to get in the seat. So it starts off with like this chopped up VCR footage is what it looks like. Um, the baby hairs are completely on one today. They just do what they want. Um, and it's a white woman crying. Talk about I don't know who they are, but somebody took somebody. And so she's like, they took her. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody, she's like, get off me. They're like, you're going to be fine. Like, get the fuck off me. And that's how it ended. First of all, the fact that it's a white woman crying about something immediately puts me on edge. Listen, what's happening here? What is going on? We gonna see though. I'm taking a deep breath. Let's go. Like, when the hell is this movie? Why is there a male in New York, looks like New York City, on the side of the road? Oh, you know how they be selling stuff on the sidewalk. Talk about screaming. He got cassette tapes. Who's buying cassette? This has to be done in the 80s. It has to be. Because who's buying cassette tapes? Who's buying cassette tape? Okay. All right. And now he talk about he got a $1 box. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I'm 10 minutes. I'll be back. I'm gonna wait 10 minutes before I come back and say hopefully, because as I said that when I do Superman and Lois, and it's never 10 minutes. 10 minutes, I'll be back. Okay, so Mans is running like a little consignment shop on the sidewalk. So he goes to like storage facilities, like what's the name of that show on 80? Y'all know they bid on the storage facilities, and then he sells the contents. So he got VCR tapes, cassette tapes, all kinds of like old shit. And the guy comes up to him and he was like, last week you sold me some VCR tapes, and it was 2 hours of a T-ball tournament. And he was like, yeah, but I also sold you an uncut version of Phantasmagoria from Channel 17. And that's rare. And he's like, it's hit or miss. And he was like, I know, you should just get a VCR so you can watch, so you can tell us what's on the tapes. And he was like, well, what's the fun in that? So he picked up two tapes, two VCR tapes. It didn't really, the writing was kind of worn off on the tapes. And he paid for them. And then the guy says, oh, Jill was just by here. She told me to tell you hello. And yeah, he's like, you can catch her if you go that way. And he walked in the opposite direction. So what's going on with him? And he gonna have to come back to jail. I have a feeling. I think they broke up. I think that's maybe his ex girlfriend. Maybe she broke up with him because she's still speaking, and he's like, fuck this bitch. But we gonna see. Okay, so he works for a museum. He works for a museum. Um, okay, okay. He works for a museum, and I guess he's getting like all of these old archive VHS tapes for the museum, because he goes to this other place and he was like, he's got a 16 millimeter projection coming in, and they got Flash Gordon 1940 reel to reels. Okay, so maybe it's like a movie television situation. Okay, it's making more sense because I didn't understand cassette tapes on the side of the road. What is Okay, got it. Clearly, it's modern day. Okay, so I figured out that it is modern day. It's just that they do. That works in a museum, I guess, for television and stuff. Okay, got it. Y'all, I just realized this is a show. This is season 1, episode 1. Oh, I thought this whole thing was gonna be over in an hour. I knew something was wrong when it wasn't a movie. It's not a movie. It's a show. I'm in. I'm still in. I'm still in. He works for the Museum of Moving Images, and he's a restoration of old film. One girl named Evie sent an old reel that she found on her father's estate from some unaired TV show from the 1940s. And then someone named Karen has sent him these old beta tapes, the little tiny. Okay, so history lesson for my younger babies. Back before the big VHS tapes, there used to be called beta tapes. This is Betamax, beta. And they were smaller versions of the VHS tape that fit into a bigger VHS thing that you could stick into the VHS machine to play it. And so the lady sent 2 of them that were really beat up, and now he's restoring them. She said restore and digitize them and do not make a copy. Those were the instructions. So now he's restoring it, and he's actually watching the videos. I guess once you clean up the film, you have to actually play it to make sure that there's something to digitize and play it so it can be digitized content. I guess I'm not sure how from how you digitize. I don't know how that process works. So he's watching it, and we've met Dr. What's this baby's name?
I'm Melody Penrose.
Her name is She's Melody Penrose, a doctoral candidate in the sociocultural anthropology at NYU. I don't know how old this tape is, but this looks like the girl from the beginning of the episode who was like, "Get off me, get the fuck off of me," and then the tape died. So we're in. All right, it's a TV show. We're in. Okay, so the girl said that she's going to this apartment building called the Visser building in the East Village, and she's going to talk to the residents about the change in society at the end of the 20th century. And then her best friend was like, "Don't be gone too long." She's like, "Oh, I'll be gone before you can miss me." She's like, "Yeah, that's what Amelia Earhart said." Ooh, ooh. And we know she disappeared, and we never saw that broad again. So, yikes. We're going to see. I'm intrigued. White people stay crossing the line. They stay crossing the line. So, so he restored that little bit of tape, and he goes like, he goes to see one of his friends who does like this spoken word podcast situation where it's like a murder mystery radio thing. It was really cool. And so they're talking afterwards, and he was like, "You haven't been feeling, you'll tell me if you're feeling down." I'm assuming that he struggles with depression. And he was like, yeah, I'll tell you. And then he's like, "I got an early day tomorrow." And he's like, "Your museum doesn't open until 12. And he's like, I still have an early day tomorrow." So he goes into work, and they said, Karen, she talked to Karen, and she's like, "You did a great job." And she was like, "The guy who did the work wants to give you a special thank you." He goes to the office. He gives him the information. So he gets there to the office of LMG. It's the name of the business. And he was like, "I wanted to thank you. You did such a wonderful job." He was like, "Yeah, well, yeah." The thanks goes to my boss, Karen. And he was like, "We wanted to talk to you about that." They offer him a job. We said, "We have a special collection. We think that you would be the perfect person to restore it." He's like, "That tape came from the collection. The stuff was burnt, and he's like, it's a lot of damaged film. And he was like, he's like, what type of damage? He was like, fire damage, soot, water, stuff like that. And he was like, oh, the fire from the Visser building. Because when he heard the girl say Visser building and stuff, he looked it up online, and it was a big fire there. And I think like 13 people died or something. A great number of people passed away. And he was like, he's like, but the thing is that the caveat is that the film and stuff is so damaged it can't be moved, so you would have to work at our remote facility in the Catskills. He offered him $100,000. When he said $100,000, my answer would have been yes. I know this is probably a horror thing and supernatural and shit, but I would have said yes to $100,000 job. I would have. So the man says to him, he was like, no, the guy, Dan, the film restorer guy, he's talking to the CEO of the company. He's like, I'm not exactly sure what you guys do, because I looked you up and I didn't find anything. He's like, same, because we looked you up and we didn't find anything either. Okay. And then he was like, we think you're the perfect man because we know you have a special affinity for restoring things and giving people like mementos of their family back, restoring things for people's families. He's like, especially in this type of situation. And Dan said, what do you mean? He was like, you lost your family in a fire, didn't you? See how you went too far? See how you went too far right there? Dan says, okay, I'm going to say no. Thank you so much. He's going to end up saying yes. I don't know what's going to make him say yes, but probably his friends going to talk him into taking that $100,000. But I need to know how long how long it's going to take me to restore. How much stuff do you have that needs to be restored if you offer me $100,000 off rip? Like, is this job going to take me like a year? Because if so, double it and you got me. You know what I'm saying? And is that $100,000 after taxes or before taxes? I need to know that as well. Questions that need answers. But somehow they're going to get him over there. I'm going to try and go 10 minutes. We'll see. Hi, it's 30 seconds later. Okay, so he's on the phone with his friend. He was like, how the fuck does he know that, my family died in a fire? And his friend was like, it's called the internet. Duh. And he was like, no, it's not, because it's not on the internet. It's not public information. I looked. I'm assuming it's a corporation. They have like private investigators on retainer. When they want to investigate somebody, they'll find it. How they found it in 24 hours? That's the real question. Unless they investigated and found and knew who he was beforehand, and that's why they sent the tapes to his boss for him to restore in the first place. Detective Abby, you on the job? I know you motherfucking lying. Not he finna take this job and go up to the Catskills because he thinks that his Labrador Retriever is in a picture with the girl who was the doctoral candidate that died in the That is the thinnest. Your dog, man? Your dog. Okay. Okay. Okay, so the fire in the news article, the fire said 13 bodies never recovered. It didn't say that they were dead. It just said they never recovered the bodies. And now he's using the excuse of the dog to take this job. Talk about it's a sign. Okay. So Dan is writing in the car to the Catskills with the man. They get to the house. He gives them a tour. It's a big old damn creepy. It looks creepy to me. It's very modern. Just very nicely appointed. And then they get down to the um, I guess the lab. I guess is what we're gonna call it, where he's gonna be doing all the restoring. They have all this state of art equipment, but no internet and no cell service. They got a landline though. Hey, hey, what you mean? But you got all this state of art equipment to restore this film, but y'all ain't got the internets. And then at the end, when the man is leaving, he give him this like Apple Watch, like you get your steps in that, like a digital thing like that, watch thingy, bracelet thing. And he was like, "What, you trying to make sure I get my steps in?" He was like, "No, that is 24 hours a day. If you need any type of medical assistance, press that button. We got medical people like 20 miles away that'll come right immediately." And he said, and that includes mental health. He's like, just letting you know, we did a thorough background check. We would be negligent if we didn't. Apparently, the baby had a mental breakdown at some point, and so he's just saying, we know you. We don't, There's no way. There's no good way to non-offensive way to say, if you feeling crazy, press the button and somebody will come and help you. So he's like, well, do you need anything else? Blood sample, urine? Don't do that. Don't do that. They're trying to protect their investment and protect you. Don't do that. I understand your feelings about it, but don't do that. Let's go on. I'm only 30 minutes in, but can I say I'm calling it now? They picked him partially because he had a mental breakdown before, and once if he just in case he finds something on these tapes and it's super crazy, they can be like, well, he's a crazy person and discredit him, so nobody believes what he's saying. Just me? Okay, so our POV has kind of changed. It's gone from Dan restoring and watching the films back to the girl with the camera actually filming the stuff. The visitor building was apparently built on top of a mansion that had burned down in the 1920s. And when she gets in there and she gets to the apartment and stuff, she asked the super who was giving her the keys and the little 25-cent tour. She was like, "Do you know of a woman who named Julia Bennett, who used to live here? Does she still live here in the building?" And he was like, "I can't tell you that because of privacy laws." I feel like this dissertation was built around her getting into this building so she could find this Julia Bennett person. I don't know what's going on. Something. I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Now she asked the landlord for advice for getting to know people in the building. He was like, "Yeah, stay away from the 6th floor." What's happening on the 6th floor, sir? Now I wanted to be on the 6th floor to figure out what's going on. You can't tell nosy people like this stuff like that. Okay, but she don't went late. She said she's never lived alone before. Okay, and so she's in the bed sleeping, and she hears chanting. Who's chanting at the ass crack? Okay. What in the hell is going on around here? All right, so daughter wakes up. She hears chanting coming through one of the vents, which has to be from one of the neighbors. So she tries to zoom in, and she's listening, and baby boy who's watching the tape is listening. He turns the volume up, and then static. Scared the piss out of me. So it's the next day. Baby girl wakes up. She's trying to knock on doors, try to meet the neighbors, all that good stuff. She meets this little girl. The little girl was born there at the visitor. Now, I don't know if physically born there or her family. She's lived there her whole life. Let's just put it like that. And so she's everybody's errand girl. She gets newspapers, cups of coffee, Greek salads, everything. Pulls storages, strollers out of storages. They pay her to do stuff in the in the building. And so she was like, can you help me get introduced to some of the neighbors? She was like, why, you can't make friends? And she was like, no, I'm doing this dissertation, blah blah blah, and nobody will talk to me, nobody will answer the doors. And she was like, I'll pay you. And she was like, how much? And she was like, 25 a week. She was like, cool. So she introduces her to this one lady who's a composer, opera mostly, she says. And she was like, oh, I heard you working on it last night. And she was like, I was playing a show at the Sanctuary last night. And so she was like, this is what I'm working on. And then she starts playing this music. It's beautiful and it's haunting, kind of eerie. And the composer lady goes into this trance, listening to the music. And she was like, when I stage the opera, they'll be dressed in these little white half masks. And the baby girl is not baby girl, tiny baby girl, but the doctoral candidate lady. I'm gonna start calling her Melody because that's her name. Starts to get a little uncomfortable, and she was like, "Isn't that what I heard last night?" And then the lady is just and then the phone rings, and she gets up, and she's like out of it. Like, I don't know if she's, I don't know. Is she mesmerized? Is she under a spell? Is there a spell in the words of whatever she composed? Inquiring minds want to know. Like, I feel like this is going to be almost as long as the actual episode. So I'm going to shut up now and go back to watching. So Melody is listening to the music. And while the girl gets up to answer, the composer lady answers her phone. You can see that she's being like physically affected by the music. So she gets up and she kind of falls down, and baby girl runs over to her. It's like, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? And she was like, doesn't the music make you feel like weird? And she was like, no, do you need a soda, a sandwich or something? And she was like, yeah. And then the camera cuts off. And then we're back to Dan, who was watching it, and he's humming the music that the lady was composing to himself. What the paranormal activity is happening here? Paranormal activity / American Horror Story. That's what this is giving me. Okay, let's go. Yo. Oh, God. Okay. Excuse me. So, he gets on, once he stops playing the tape, he gets on the phone and calls his friend. They'd have the landline, like I said. He's talking and he's like, hey, I'm here, everything's cool, it's nice. He's like, there's no internet here, so can you do me a favor? Can you look up a composer named Teresa Stefano, who is the name of the composer lady in the video? He's like, I think I've heard one of her songs before, but I just can't remember where. Then all of a sudden there's this static click, 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 click on the line. And he's like, hello, hello. And then he hangs up and he picks it back up and he hears the same static click, 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 click. He's like, hello, is somebody there? Is somebody there? They're listening to his phone calls. I just listen. You can't, something, listen. They listen to it. I don't think they want that information out, boo-boo. That's why they got you using the landline. So, oh, God, that scared the Jesus out. Look at Jesus. My stepdad scared the piss out of me. Now he want me to take his typing test. I'm glad I ain't got no nails on. Jesus. Back to the show. We have reached the moment when I would have packed up all of my things and left and said, I'm so sorry, I can't accept this. He is just, looking on bookshelves. He found a movie to watch. He's eating dinner and all that good stuff. He goes to take his plate in the kitchen. There's a mouse on the shelf. It's either me or Ratatouille. It can't be both. I gotta go. This is unacceptable. I can't. I gotta go. Somebody needs to press the button. Somebody come get me now. Immediately. Not this man done put out 15 cartoons, ginormous size mouse trap all over the house. They gonna come back to this because there's no way they showed that for no reason. Okay, when he fell asleep, he, I guess, was dreaming about walking through the woods humming that tune. And then he has a flashback to him and his sister at the piano, and the sister playing that tune at the piano, and the dad coming in saying, "What is that you're playing?" And then he wakes up. He gets up, and then he sees the mouse. The mouse is caught by its tail. The mouse is dragging the mousetrap with his tail caught in it. So he decides to put the mouse in a box and says, "I'm not a rat person, but you can stay until your tail." I gotta go. Listen, I've got to go immediately. I can't. The Lord don't want me to. I checked with him. He said, "No, daughter, this is not for you." Not at all. Not at all. Yo, so Melody is interviewing Jess, the little girl who helps all the neighbors and stuff. And she was like, and she was getting her life story. She was like, "Yeah, I was born right here in the building. My mother gave birth 6 weeks early. They couldn't get people didn't get there in time. She was actually born in the building." And she was like, "Oh, so what do you think draws people to the building?" And she was like, "Is it friends, family, and da 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 da?" And she was like, "Something pulls them here." I'm sorry, excuse me. Then this baby, she like goes into like she drifts off, and then she was like, "Did Samuel bring you here?" And Melody's like, "Who's Samuel?" And then all of a sudden, the smile falls off the little girl's face, and it's like she's terrified, and she starts to slowly back her chair up, and then she stands up, and then she falls to the ground and starts seizing. Then the tape starts messing up, and we are back with the POV of Dan, and Dan is like this in the screen, just like I was. I was like, "What the hell is happening?" And so, like in the static, you can kind of see when it goes staticky. There's like a figure in the static, and you see Dan is looking like this, and you kind of see the figure in the static look over his shoulder at Dan, because like at first he was facing forward, looking at Melody, screaming, "Help, help," to get help with the baby who's seizing. And then you see the static figure look over his shoulder, and then he turns completely around, and then instead he looking at the static trying to, and then a demon face pops out. Wah! Child. Again, I would have been gone with the mouse, but this should, black man, this should be your cue to get the hell out. There should not be any more episodes after this, because you should have got the hell out. But we're going to keep going. I know that's damn right. Dan then ran out of the house into the woods with his cell phone. Like, there's a fucking signal somewhere. You can't tell me ain't no goddamn signal out here. I'm going to find a signal and call somebody. I got to go. Okay, he gets a signal. He gets a call out to his best friend who runs the mystery magical thing. And he's like, "I just saw," he didn't tell him he saw the demon in the TV screen, because how you going to tell somebody that over the phone who is actively worried about your mental health? Because then they're going to be even more worried about your mental health. So he starts to calm himself, and he was like, "Did you find anything about the lady?" And he was like, "No artist, no magician, no nothing, but going by that name." And then he was like, "Well, okay, so find out anything you can about LMG and Melody, Melody Pendergrass, whatever her name is, who was the girl, the doctorial lady." So he's calming himself down. I guess he's gonna go back in, and he's gonna get to the bottom of the mystery of the demon in the tape. Child, do you not understand? I wouldn't even have got to the demon in the tape part, because the rat would have either said, "I gotta go." We moving on. Now this baby is very smart. He done took the tie out of his sweatshirt. It's blue, and tied it around a tree to mark where he was standing when he made his phone call to his friend, because he knows that's where he has service. I feel like they're gonna move that or something. That's gonna come back. That is going to come back later on. Wait on it. So when he's calming himself down, he has a flashback to the fire that killed his the day the fire killed his family. Me and his sister was sitting at the piano. His sister was playing that same melody that was kind of reflected in that operatic music. And the daddy is like, "Where did you hear that? Stop playing that." And she was like on the tape, and daddy was like, stop playing it. And the little girl goes to play it again, and he's like, stop it. And he's like, the dog has been cooped up all day, take the dog out. So Dan takes the dog out, and he comes back, the house is on fire. Then we switch back to the POV. He goes back to clean the tape up, and he starts to play it again. And Jess is sitting there, and she drinks some water. She's like, "Now can I have a Mountain Dew?" And they talk about the seizures, and she's like, "I've had them all the time. They're no big deal." She's like, "What did your mother say?" And she was like, "She takes me to the church for your seizures." She said, "We went to the clinic, and the doctor says it's in my nothing's wrong with me. It's in my imagination." A seizure's in your imagination? Girl, get a second opinion. Go to the hospital. The clinic is clearly not doing y'all any good. Go to the hospital. And so she was like, she starts talking to, the little girl starts talking to her. She's like, do you believe in there's other worlds? She was like, you mean like heaven and hell? And she was like, no, just like this one, only more. And so the lady said, "Oh, I should have asked you for permission to talk to you about your mom." And she's like, "You think I'm a freak?" And she was like, "No, I don't think that." She's like, "I think you can do and be anything you want in this world." And then the next thing you know, we're at the part of the videotape they showed at the beginning where she's panting in this elevator. I'm not. I'm confusion. Confusion is my name. The ending, though. The What? Okay, so, okay. So we then, so after they had their little conversation, it didn't flip to the tape where she's running to tell about what did you do with her? Where's Jess? Where's Jess? What did you do with her? What did you do with her? And they're like, the maintenance man, he was like, I told you to stay off the sixth floor. And so she's coming down the stairs. She's like, fuck you. Where is she? And then she's running down the stairs. And then the man who was trying to let her in the building to begin with, he's like, oh, wait a minute. And then two men that look like they're from the psych ward are there. And they're like, calm down, Melody. Just calm down. They're like, what the fuck did you do with her? Just like, come with us. And then Dan's daddy walks in, and Melody seems to know who Dan's daddy is. And she was like, what the fuck are you doing here? And he was like, calm down. Everything is going to be all right. And then Dan is hyperventilating because he's like, what is my daddy doing in this video? And he's like, what's happening? What's happening? And he's rewinding it. You can hear him hyperventilating and stuff over the revelation that his daddy and the girl knew each other. And then we slowly pull back, and it's a it's a humongous screen with different video camera feeds of this house, and the white man who's the CEO of LMG is watching the video. And that's how the episode ends. What? What? Listen, this is so good. It's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. Okay, so let's hold on. Let's do some investigations. Let's do some investigations right quick. How many episodes is there of the show? It's 8. We're in for the next 8 days. Episode a day. Because if you think I'm just gonna not watch this whole thing, you're drunk. So it's called ARCHIVE81. New show alert. This is at the end. ARCHIVE81. It's available on Netflix. Y'all, we in for, oh god, I feel like this is gonna catch fire. This is really good. Have you seen it? Let's get in the comments and talk about this first episode. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a kin. I will see y'all tomorrow for this. Peace out.